It is 7:37, calling the special city council meeting to order to discuss the fiscal year 2015 budget. Nope. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilor David Alves.
Right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Alves. Item number 1, communication, Council President Lopes to City Clerk Rita Arruda requesting that a special City Council meeting is called for Wednesday, May 14, 2014 at 7:30 p.m. for the submittal of the fiscal year 2015 City of New Bedford budget.
Motion received and placed on file.
Second.
Made by Councilor Alves, seconded by Councilor Bousquet. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Council President Lopes designates Councilor Deborah Coelho and Councilor Winterson to escort Mayor Jonathan F. Mitchell to the Bedford City Council chambers. We will take a 5-minute recess.
It takes them that long to get here.
Coming back from recess, Councilor Winterson.
Mr. President, members of the City Council, I present to you the Honorable Mayor of New Bedford, Massachusetts, Jon Mitchell.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you for that warm reception. Council President Lopes, honorable members of the City Council, department heads, staff, and citizens of New Bedford, good evening and thank you for this opportunity to present for your consideration my fiscal year 2015 budget proposal for the great city of New Bedford. Every budget is a reflection of values and priorities, and this one is no exception. It was designed purposely to address what everyone recognizes as the fundamental problem facing our city. That is a long, struggling public education system which has undermined our children's ability to land good jobs and has weakened the competitiveness of local businesses. We can and we must take on the heavy lifting necessary to fix what ails our schools and fund them adequately. We have no choice. We have no choice. Our city's success in the long run depends chiefly on what we do in our schools. At the same time, we have to provide for education in a way that recognizes the very real economic and fiscal pressures on residents and the rest of city government. The FY 2015 budget was crafted to keep a brake on expenditures across city government as much as possible. It should be emphasized right up front, and this will not be welcome news to my department heads, that non-school discretionary spending, that is, spending on most of the activities we ordinarily associate with city government, would remain flat under this proposal. In other words, as you will hear in a moment, we have effectively frozen the city's operating budget in order to deal with the needs of our schools. Let me take a moment to lay out for you the process we use to formulate the budget, because that is an important part of the story. We began by taking a hard look at the range of fiscal challenges facing city government to separate urgent issues from matters that can simply wait. New performance measurement initiatives we have been putting into place have played an important role in this exercise. For the first time, all departments were directed to identify their most important activities and develop goals, objectives, and measures to evaluate the effectiveness of their programs. You will see this spelled out in the new budget book that you are about to receive. The budget also benefits greatly from the recent departmental reorganizations and efficiency initiatives we have been implementing over the last 2 years, and there have been many of them. For example, successful reorganizations of the city's public works functions have resulted in more effective services at minimal cost, as indicated by noticeable improvements to the city's streets, open spaces, infrastructure, and facilities. The ongoing modernization of the city's financial system is allowing the city to more effectively analyze individual programs, resulting in improvements to facilities management, special event support, telecommunications, vehicle maintenance, and code enforcement, and the list goes on. The successful negotiation of 11 new renewable energy power purchase agreements will allow the city to purchase green energy at deeply discounted prices, thanks to the state incentive system that we're aggressively pursuing. We will save roughly $30 million in electricity costs over the next 20 years as a result. The city is embarking on a partnership with Siemens Corporation to modernize our buildings, parks, and other facilities to improve energy efficiency and to reduce consumption. And improvements in office automation and fleet management have resulted in improvements to service quality at cheaper costs. We continue to explore other potential areas, such as telecommunications, that hold the potential for providing substantial benefit with a strong return on investment. We have further stabilized the city's finances by increasing the stabilization fund, adopting sound fiscal policies, settling a major collective bargaining agreement, and implementing a long-term capital plan. All of this has garnered the approval of Wall Street rating agencies, which act more or less as the good housekeeping seal of approval for city finances, as evidenced by Standard & Poor's upgrade of New Bedford to a AA- bond rating, the city's best bond rating in at least 40 years. That is a huge achievement, and it speaks volumes about our success in managing the city's finances. This success goes far in explaining how we've been able to avoid tax increases, or increases to the levy, for 4 years in a row now. Holding the line on any tax increases for this long is a remarkable accomplishment for an older industrial city. It rarely happens. In fact, today, New Bedford has the third highest capacity of untapped levy in percentage terms among the 22 so-called gateway cities in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We have held the line on taxes better than just about every city in the state. But, like anything else, the price of government tends to go up over time. The idea that every budget pressure can be negated by managing government better is just simply unrealistic. The reality is that our schools are at a crossroads. Significant funding is now required to support the system's overall recovery and school turnaround plans imposed by the state. The plans at our high school and the Parker Elementary School will cost alone $2.7 million. Given these new education obligations, the simple adoption of the state-mandated minimum municipal contribution to the school district is no longer a plausible alternative. And while efforts to restrain increases in health insurance are ongoing, the reality is that increases in benefit costs are largely unavoidable at the municipal level, having resulted from factors well outside our direct control. And the reality is that the broadest driver of a municipal budget is the health of the local economy, which, despite encouraging signs, is still emerging from the recent recession. Facing this set of circumstances, it was imperative that controlling costs and managing future risks were prime considerations in preparing this year's budget. As you well know, many families and seniors in our city continue to fight each month to make ends meet, paying the tax and insurance and utility and other bills that allow them to remain in their very own homes. Effective cost control, so that city government is as affordable as possible, has therefore been a fundamental starting point for every budget I have crafted since taking office, and this one is no exception. A second major consideration was the need to continue to guard against a range of potential financial risks. For example, city government continues to operate under the threat of a 2012 ruling from the state's Employment Relations Board regarding the furloughs that were imposed on employees at the height of the recession, which we're all familiar with. The state's ruling could total $1.8 to $1.9 million and is currently awaiting the board's transcription of the proceedings so that the city may proceed with its appeal. Late last year, the city received a renewal from the federal government funding firefighters through the so-called SAFER grant, which will fund roughly 1/3 of our fire department's firefighters through the middle of FY 2016. Although the city reached a contract agreement with the police union that will ensure stability in that department through FY 16, negotiations remain ongoing with other municipal unions. The city also continues to maintain significant outstanding liabilities for retiree benefits, a situation that will only become more serious as the average lifespan grows and the baby boomer generation continues to retire. Because the city must remain prepared for all eventualities, my administration is committed to maintaining a robust reserve in case of the proverbial rainy day. And we have increased the reserve's balance 73% since 2012 to nearly $7.7 million at this point, and we're awaiting a $500,000 transfer pending your consideration to add to that. So let me sketch out for you now the contours of my budget proposal. To begin, the FY 2015 budget restrains spending to the greatest extent possible. City operating expenditures increased by only 0.2%. In fact, if the council approves the transfers now pending before it, the proposed budget will represent a decrease in spending over this year. This effective spending cut will have happened despite the added cost of additional EMS coverage, the recent police union contract, a 10% reduction in SAFER funding for the fire department, and financing costs for the 2 new fire apparatuses approved by the council. We've been able to hold the line despite all of those pressures. Fixed costs, such as debt service, health insurance, life insurance, and pension, will increase by 2.8%, or roughly $2 million. This reflects the ongoing challenges involved in providing health care and pensions for city employees and retirees. State-mandated assessments, and you'll see these on the charts right here. If you look to the chart furthest from me, state-mandated assessments, which include the cost of funding charter school payments, will increase by 14.6%, or roughly $1.8 million, reflecting a category of the budget that continues to have a noteworthy impact on city finances, with annual expenses now totaling more than $12 million. So you see in the chart, the highest growth is in this smaller but growing area of state-mandated finances. And the school department budget grows by 6.4%. The non-discretionary spending, the benefit spending that we have very little control of, goes up by 2.8%, and has continued, as you know, to grow year after year. And then the city operating budget is essentially flat. The budget provides significant additional resources for the school system, as I mentioned, increasing funding by about $7 million year over year. About $3.3 million of that will come straight from the city under this proposal and under the budget passed by the school committee. The cost of implementing turnaround plans at Parker Elementary School and the high school are key drivers of this increase. As I noted earlier, the FY15 budget also begins to address other needs that have been long neglected in our school department, and there are many of those. Breaking out appropriation by category is instructive. This year, fixed costs and state-mandated assessments, again, will grow significantly. Fixed costs and state-mandated will account for about $85 million, about 30% of the entire budget. It is imperative that we work to control these expenses through the careful management of the city's pension, retiree health, and debt-related liabilities. In summary, the budgetary pressures of fixed costs as well as local funding for the school department suggest at present a necessity for some increase in the city's real estate tax levy later this year. The city has engaged in a strenuous effort to forego tax increases for the past 4 years, as I noted earlier, but again, it is not realistic to expect that this trend can continue indefinitely. It hasn't in any other city in America. That said, my administration remains committed to mitigating the impact of levy requirements of this budget on residents and businesses, and I intend to take further action as more information becomes available in the months ahead regarding changes in things like projected growth, valuation revisions, and state and local resources that may become available to the city. The FY 2015 budget itself significantly mitigates the impact of additional levy requirements through revenue-positive measures such as the expansion of EMS services and additional code inspection staff while restraining expenditures to the greatest extent possible. The bottom line is, as I've said many times, we will continue to take a proactive approach toward reducing the impact of all of this on the city's taxpayers. That is what people expect, and that is what we will continue to do. Several months ago, I asked a team of department heads who are in this room to identify the set of core values that underlie our approach to serving the residents of our city. The fruit of their work, the New Bedford Way, is a set of core principles that defines the reasons we have decided to serve the public. As the embodiment of our community, our city government is in the business of keeping people safe, educating children, and providing services that, for many of our residents, make life worth living. The people of New Bedford need to know that they can count on us when it matters most. Our willingness to embrace the New Bedford Way in the months and years ahead will speak volumes about our commitment to making our city a better place in which to live. To be clear, the statement, the New Bedford Way, itself is not about my administration's core values per se, and the New Bedford Way is not a decree from the person who happens to occupy the position of mayor at any given point in time. The statement was the work of career employees, and it is meant to endure beyond the current administration. Over the past 2 years, we've instituted a number of reforms and other measures that have resulted in material improvements to city government operations and the residents' quality of life. For instance, the opening of Custom House Square last fall provided a welcoming green space in the heart of our city's downtown. Ongoing improvements to our parks and at the zoo are providing enhanced recreational activities and opportunities for residents and visitors alike. The implementation of the city's capital improvement program will provide long-needed maintenance and equipment replacement to our service agencies while managing our overall debt load. New businesses are coming into New Bedford at an increasing pace, and the upcoming opening of the New Bedford Marine Commerce Terminal will mark a new era for our harbor as a cargo port and as the potential epicenter of the United States offshore wind industry. Our city's downtown and neighborhoods are becoming more vibrant, with 479 establishments added since 2008, which represents an 18% increase that outpaced the state's 3.6% growth rate over the same period. We're far outstripping the rest of the state, which itself is doing pretty well. In fact, more than 300 jobs have been added in the Upper Harbor District alone during the past year, with $87 million invested in historic mill redevelopment, retail construction, and equipment acquisition. The city has tremendous momentum right now. Councilors, more than anything else during this budget season, I encourage you to ask questions. I will make my team readily available to you to clarify or explain any aspect of my proposal. My goal is to make sure that the council has all the information it needs to make its budget decisions based strictly on the merits. Whatever the opportunity, whatever the challenge, I have confidence that we can work together to ensure a bright future for all of our residents. Like you, I remain very optimistic about our city and its prospects going forward. Thank you for hearing me out tonight.
No pictures?
All these items? What's that? Okay. Item number 2 is an order appropriating $274,557,395 from ordinary revenue and municipal receipts for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2014 and ending June 30th, 2015 for payment of current expenses of various municipal departments.
Second.
We're going to take them all up at once if you don't mind, councilors. We'll take 2 to 6 together. Thank you. Item number 3, order appropriating $759,144 in 12 equal monthly increments from airport receipts of fiscal year 15 in the airport budget. Item number 4, order appropriating $20,123,200 in 12 equal monthly increments from wastewater receipts of fiscal year 15 in the DPI wastewater budget. Item number 5, order appropriating $11,708,383 in 12 equal monthly increments from water receipts of fiscal year 15 in the DPI water budget. Item number 6, order appropriating $850,366 in 12 equal monthly increments from the enterprise fund receipts of fiscal year 15 in the downtown parking account. Councilor Rouse.
Motion to receive and place on motion to adopt the orders and refer to the quasi-committee.
Second.
Made by Councilor Rouse, seconded by Councilor. We're just going to refer them to the committee. Thank you. The motion is to refer to the quasi-committee of the whole, made by Councilor Rouse, seconded by Councilor Bousquet. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 7, order appropriating $44,400 now standing to the credit of account CCDA traffic handicap parking as follows. $0 to Commission for Citizens with Disabilities salary and wages. $41,450 to the Commission for Citizens with Disabilities charges and services. $2,950 to the Commission for Citizens with Disabilities supplies and materials.
Motion to refer to quasi-committee.
Made by Councilor Rouse, seconded by Councilor Martins. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Seeing no further business in front of us.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Made by Councilor Rouse, seconded by Councilor Oliveira. All in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Meeting has ended at 8:03 p.m.
This desperate search doesn't need to ruin your perfect day. In New Bedford, all of that cardboard can be recycled. Flatten those boxes to no longer than 2 by 3 feet. Place them in your recycling bin and set it at the curb on your collection day.
Join us in making New Bedford a cleaner place. Recycle your cardboard. To request a free recycling bin, call 508-979-1493. Recycle more, New Bedford.
Thanks for calling the GED Pep Talk Center. Jerry Stiller speaking. Your level 7 in-your-face pep talk.
Once you've got your GED diploma, you'll feel so good about yourself.
You tell them.
Mr. Trejo, can I transfer this guy to you? He needs something a little more
persuasive.
Yes.
Whatever motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you at yourged.org.